Well, welcome to this week's Phoenix News, the first of the new year, and for that we apologise. Obviously, with guys being away over New Year and what have you, we weren't able to get into the studio as often as we'd wanted to, so for that we apologise. But we are back now in 2008, and this is the first edition for the new year. Now, just one game for the Manchester Phoenix this coming weekend when the team travel to Belfast on Saturday morning for Saturday night's game at the Odyssey Arena. Belfast on a tremendous run of form at the moment, unbeaten in 10 games going into Wednesday night's game when they face the Newcastle Vipers. And the Vipers, obviously with 2 wins last weekend, well, they'll be buoyant going across the water as well. So who knows, we could be up against the Belfast Giants, who will have lost for the first time in 11 by the time we go there on Saturday. Alternatively, we could be on a team that's then on an 11-game unbeaten streak. Either way, it's a tough game for the Phoenix on Saturday, and we'll be hoping that they can come away with something. We've already taken points from Belfast this year, and with them on such a good run of form, probably nobody but Phoenix faithful supporters will expect them to come away from the Odyssey with anything. So anything on Saturday would be a distinct bonus for the team. Now, no game on Sunday, as hopefully everybody is well aware. Sunday's game against the Newcastle Vipers in the Altrincham Ice Dome has been rescheduled to Sunday, March the 2nd. So no Phoenix Elite League game in the Ice Dome on Sunday. However, there is a very important Phoenix Under-18s game on Sunday in Altrincham. It begins at 4:45. Not 5:30, the regular Elite League time. 4:45 is the face-off time for the Phoenix Under-18s. They're playing Grimsby on Sunday. Phoenix Under-18s unbeaten this year on a 100% winning record. And so obviously everybody now in the Under-18 League wants to be the first team to knock off the Phoenix Under-18s. Can Grimsby come across the Pennines and do that job? Well, let's hope not. So with no Phoenix Elite League game on Sunday, how about taking on the Under-18s and getting behind them in the Silver Blades Ice Dome on Sunday night? Give them a cheer, and let's hope they can keep their 100% winning record on the very positive note that it is now 100% wins already this season. Let's hope they can keep it going. But don't forget, it is a 4:45 face-off, not the regular 5:30 for the Elite League team. Now, news this week that Adam Walker has been selected by GB coach Paul Thompson for the 33-man squad, which will be flying out to France in the first week in February. GB going out to a tournament called the Mont Blanc tournament down in southeastern France. And Adam Walker has been called up, and I can tell you he's tickled pink at being selected. He wasn't expecting it, but Paul Thompson has seen enough in him this year, even though by his own standards, Adam admits he's not had quite as good a year as last year. But Paul Thompson obviously has seen something in the games that he's watched Adam play, and he's been selected, and he will figure at some point in that tournament. 33-man squad going out for Great Britain. Every player is expected to play at some point. No player will play all 3 games of the tournament. The maximum for any player will be 2 games. And so it's good international experience possibly for Adam, and without over-tiring him for the games on the following weekend when the squad fly back into the UK. Now, playoff tickets for the end of season weekend on April 5 and 6 in Nottingham, they are selling fast. If you haven't already reserved your tickets through the office, then you need to be contacting Mags on the club offices 3016848 or by email to mpullen@manchesterphoenix.co.uk, because our allocation is selling very, very quickly indeed, and we wouldn't want anybody to be disappointed. We do not expect to be sending any tickets back to Nottingham to go on general sale, and the other bonus as well is if you buy them through the club now, you'll get them slightly cheaper than if you wait until they go on general sale from the NIC. So more than one reason to book early. Now, the next thing for the Manchester Phoenix is Operation 2627. Those of you that received the e-zine will have read about Operation 2627, and very simply that revolves around the weekend of January 26 and 27 when we have back-to-back home games in the Silver Blades Ice Dome. Cardiff Devils here on Saturday the 26th, Nottingham Panthers the visitors on the 27th. And we're looking to build the crowd up for those two very important games. And we've said all along that our regular supporters, the Phoenix faithful, and indeed our season ticket holders, well, you're our best advert, and the best form of advertisement is word of mouth. And so we're asking everybody to have a word with family, friends, work colleagues, and indeed total strangers. Try and encourage some more people down to the Ice Dome, particularly for those two games on January 26 and 27, because we're now coming into the business end of the season. Just 9 home games left for the Manchester Phoenix in the regular season, and we really do want to try and turn the Ice Dome into an even more atmospheric and intimidating atmosphere for the visiting team, whoever they may be, to have to come into between now and the end of the regular season. So you are our best advert. You know the people out there who are interested in sport. Have a word in their ear, convince them to come down on that weekend, and indeed every other weekend from now till the end of the season, but particularly for the 26 and 27. It's Operation 2627, and we really would like to put on a show for those new supporters, and indeed put on a show for the visiting supporters to let them know that they're not going to come into our barn and go away with anything for free. Well, the last thing now in this edition of the Phoenix News is the post-game each weekend now at the Ice Dome in the lounge. The lounge which has been built immediately behind the home team bench. From now on till the end of the season, on each home game night, 2 Phoenix players will come into the lounge post-game. You'll have to allow them a few minutes to have a shower and get changed. But generally, about 20 minutes after the game's finished, 2 players will come into the lounge. They'll be there for about 30-40 minutes, and they'll be there for an informal autograph, photograph, and indeed chit-chat session with you, the Phoenix supporters. This is your opportunity to have a little one-on-one with a couple of different players every week in the comfort of the lounge behind the home team bench. And it's an ideal opportunity for the youngsters to get their autographs and photographs. And like we said, just a general little chit-chat about the game and about life in general, the price of bacon, the cost of petrol, whatever, with the players from the Manchester Phoenix roster. Well, that's about it for this wrap-up here on Phoenix News, although I know you always like a little bit of spice. So this week sees the signing deadline, or at least the deadline in terms of players having to be released should a club want to bring anybody else in to replace them. And there are 1 or 2 rumours going around about a couple of clubs possibly going to be releasing players this week in order to bring some fresh blood in by the end of the month, when the actual incoming signing deadline is at the end of January. The rumours are surfacing again that Trevor Gallant could possibly be a target for the Nottingham Panthers. The Panthers have actually got a space, an import space on their roster right this minute, so they won't have to release anybody should they indeed be making an attempt to bring Trevor Gallant or indeed any other import player in for the final few weeks of the season. But Trevor Gallant's name is once again doing the rounds in connection with the Nottingham Panthers. And there's also whispers going round about possibly Dion Darling, who you remember patrolled the blue line for the Sheffield Steelers and indeed the Cardiff Devils in recent years, and possibly even Jason Ruff, who has been a Belfast Giants player in the past. Then he was coming over again, then he decided not to. Then he was possibly a target for Cardiff during the summer, then he decided not to. Well, a little bit of a whispers going around at the moment that both Darling and Ruff are being targeted by 1 or more clubs to come in before the end of January, or at least to be signed before the end of January, to play some part in the closing weeks of the regular season and then obviously into the playoffs. We'll just have to keep our eye on that, and we'll keep you posted as soon as we know any more. But that is it for this week's roundup here on Phoenix News. As always, thanks for joining us.